Paymon who?
Mata Heyday.
Paymon Lata Heyday. Who is he?
Never paid taxes for 30 years. Fought the U.S. tax court and won.
See, I believe our rights come from God, not from government. Hello to my truth and freedom seekers. I am Paymon Motahede, the president of Freedom Law School, and for over 30 years, I have not filed and paid any federal income taxes, never been to prison, and none of my students have been in trouble if they followed me correctly. The common question I get asked by people is this. I just received a W-2 or 1099 form from my employer or third party that I work for. Well, based upon that, it looks like I need to file a 1040 income tax form so I won't be in trouble with the IRS. Is that the case? No, that is wrong. If you've not been to our website, freedomlawschool.org, you are going to want to do that, but let's go to your question, and I will answer that question for you clearly why you need not file a 1040 income tax confession trap form, whether you received one or more W-2 or 1099 or even K-1 forms from other third parties that a copy was sent to the IRS. So let's take a look at this form. Here's a W-2 form, and here's a 1099 form that they fill out, and employers typically send out to the IRS about how much they pay to people, okay? Now, the thing is that I bet you believe that filing an income tax form is a safe way to avoid IRS audits and keep yourself out of prison for taxes. I know that's what you think, but guess what? I invite you all to think again, because as you will see in this presentation, when you sign a 1040 income tax form, you unwittingly increase your chances of going to prison for taxes when you sign under penalties of perjury that your 1040 form is true, correct, and complete. Yes, the fact is that the safest way to have the IRS leave you alone is to not file any 1040 income tax confession forms with the IRS. You see, when you file and sign the IRS 1040 form, it's a confession form, and you state under oath that you owe the IRS money. As amazing as it sounds, here it is. This is a 1040 form, and it says in big print on the second page, sign here. Sign here. Oh, but there's a little small fine print next to it. Ever read that? What does this stuff say? Oh, nobody pays attention. Your accountant, CPA, tax attorney says, that's okay. Go ahead and sign it. Trust me, my pungent friend. Okay? Well, guess what? Did they ever tell you? When you sign that form, you're signing it under penalties of perjury, under oath. What does that mean? The penalties of perjury. I don't like penalties. That's lying under oath. Technically, you put the rope around your neck, and you're saying to the IRS, throw me in prison. If everything on this form is not true, correct, and complete, that you don't understand, your tax accountant, CPA, HR block, someone else put that together for you, they should be going to prison. No, you risk going to prison when you sign that form. And look at that on the form. You say amount that you owe under oath on line 37. Yes, on line 37, this is the amount that you owe. You say that how much you owe the IRS. Right here, the dollar amounts under oath. Without that, you owe IRS nothing. IRS must start a proposal to you, give you a chance to challenge him in U.S. tax court with a full-blown trial. If you don't sign this piece of paper, if you don't put the rope around your neck, under penalties of perjury that you've been deceived to sign every year religiously. You see, what you didn't know, again, that you are at risk of being charged with 3 separate tax crimes at the same time for each 1040 form you sign and file with the IRS. They're right here, attempting to evade or defeat a tax, 5 years. Yes. Filing a fraudulent or false statements, 3 years. How about this one? Filing fraudulent returns for statements or the documents, another 1 year. It's all the same stuff, just repeating it, but they add charge after charge, right? So bottom line is you risk going to prison for up to 9 years for each year that you sign and file any other tax document with the crooked, it's really slavery IRS. Don't risk, don't do it. And here's a chart from IRS's own annual report that most people that they put in prison are people who filed 10 for income tax confession forms. Look at the column on the left, 2022. About 1,268 people they sentenced to prison. But guess what? The non-filers were less than 100. Yes. Look at the circle areas of this chart, okay? Vast number of people they put in prison are those that file 1040 income tax forms because they've been deceived to do so by propaganda, advertising, CPA, accountants, the media that lies to you to keep you as a slave. Yes. You see, the fact is that the number of non-filers is overwhelming to the IRS. They cannot come after all of you. In 1998, IRS admitted that about 63 million Americans who they expected to file a 1040 income tax form for 1996 year did not file. That's right, 63 million, not thousand, million. Since 96, the population has risen by 25%. The number of non-filers has risen about 25%. That's how we get the number of 80 million plus non-filers. It's hard to believe, so I'm going to bring you the proof right here. There it is, the letter from the Department of the Treasury, Internal Revenue Service, Washington, D.C., September 14th, 1998. They write this guy, look at the second paragraph. What does it say? Based on our 1996 tax filing program, we estimate, they don't even know, they're guessing that approximately there are 63 million taxpayers who had not filed a tax return and initially would appear to have a legal requirement to file. Where they get that number? Well, this estimate of the IRS is based on data available to the IRS service on the individual master file. The W-2 form, the 1099 form that are sent to the IRS, that's how they come up with these numbers. And guess what? Obviously, they're not coming after 63 million Americans who don't file a tax return, putting them in prison, or taking their bank account, paycheck, home, or property. Are they? No, they're not. They can't. There's way too many of us who stop filing these 10 for income tax confession forms. So let's join this group of winners, because you see, IRS in 2017 management decided to leave income tax non-filers alone. I don't have time to go over this thing, but the report is right there. Come back to our website, freedomlawschool.org. Step 3, this is more detailed. You can see it for yourself that the IRS management decided to leave 99.9% of non-filers alone. That is a fact. That's their own numbers. You can see it. In fact, here, okay, this is another report in 2020 about the IRS that they refused to go after high-income non-filers. Yes, even extremely rich non-filers that leave alone. You just make some income from W-2 1099 is no big deal. Millionaires, no big deal. These are even bigger than millionaires. The IRS left alone on purpose. Here it is. They're so incompetent. They're so worthless at the IRS. Disorganized that the IRS gave the middle finger to the Treasury Inspector General auditors and said, no, we're not going to leave. We're going to leave these people alone who each owe the IRS $100 million. That's right, 100 richest non-filers in America. We'll leave them alone. Why? Because, as I said, when you don't file a confession from IRS, must create a tax proposal called the Notice of Deficiency. You get a chance to challenge the IRS's numbers in the U.S. tax code. That's right. When you sign a 1040 confession form, you confessed, you owe the IRS money, and now you got to just pay it because you said you owe the IRS money. When you don't file, they got to give you the chance to go to tax court. And look at this. They have only about 31 U.S. tax court judges in America. That's it. You see all of them. There's no way they can come after 80+ million non-filers every year with only 31 judges. Now, let's go to the W-2 form and talk about it a little bit more from the IRS's own website. What does it say? It says, every employee engaged in a trade or business who pays remuneration, including non-cash payments of $600 or more for the year, okay? It says, for services performed by an employee, must file a Form W-2 for each employee. Okay. Well, guess what? The key term here is trade or business. That has a very specific legal word with a very specific legal meaning. It's not your boss. It's not your plumber, your electrician, your mechanic, computer programmer. Okay, no. It's not any of you. You know what that term means? It'll shock you. Ready? Here, okay? Give me a minute. I'll give it to you after showing you about 1099 and reporting payments to independent contractors. They also use this tricky word called, trade or business. If you're independent contractors, if you pay independent contractors, you may have to file a Form 1099 NEC, non-employee compensation, to report for services performed for your trade or business. Wow, there's that word again. Trade or business. Your trade or business. Are you involved in the trade or business? I'm telling you, you're involved in business in America for profit. This is not you. This is deception. You see, the Internal Revenue Code here, I got a paper copy in my hand. Over 10,000 pages of gobbledygook, tiny font. Okay? Teach you think, thin. Confusion, and they hid the definitions at the back. 7,701 section, so you don't read it, you just say, give up! Accountancy, pay taxes on me. Please protect me from the IRS. And he says, no problem. Give me your money. And I'll make some money to put a rope on your neck and make you a slave. That's how this system works. So let's look at the term trade or business. Here it is in the Title 26 Internal Revenue Code. That is this book that you saw online. That's right. This is the Bible of the IRS. The entire federal tax laws are in this book, but online. Available for free at uscode.house.gov for you all to see officially. Here's a Chapter 79 definitions, okay? And as I promised you, you look at the section. 7,701 when used in this title. Again, what title? Title 26, the Internal Revenue Code is what we are reading here. And they define many, many different terms. Look at the one that they got here. We're going to go down to here, trade or business. Look at that. Trade or business includes the performance of the functions of a public office. Wow! I told you it does not include any business whatsoever. Not a mechanic, not a plumber, not an electrician, not a printer, not a computer programmer. No, someone doing government work. By the way, this is federal government work. So your boss, the company you do business with, should have never send that W-2 or 1099 to the IRS about what they paid you in the first place to begin with. The whole system is a deep state scam, you guys. You see, these definitions are binding. This is Supreme Court of the United States, Stemick versus Carhart. Here's what it says about definitions. When a statute or law, like you just saw, includes an explicit definition, okay, like you just saw about trade or business, we must follow that definition, even if it varies from that term's ordinary meaning. That's right, trade or business usually does mean businesses, but not here. It is axiomatic, which means self-evident, obvious, that the statutory or by statute law definition of the term excludes unstated meanings of that term. Regular businesses are not listed in definition of trade business. Therefore, they're not part of the law. The only thorough offices, they got a 1099 or W-2 other people, not your boss that was deceived by his accountant, CPA, and media to send that 1099 or W-2 about you. Here's Gould versus Gould, a tax case, unanimous 1970 case, and says that there's even more explicit restrictions when it comes to tax laws. In their interpretation or understanding of statutes, laws, levying or imposing taxes, it is established rule, well known, not to extend their provisions of tax laws by implication or implying beyond the clear import of the language used, right? If it's not there, it's not there. Or to enlarge their operations of tax laws so as to embrace or include matters not specifically pointed out. Something is specifically not there. It's simply not there. And you saw regular businesses are not listed in trade or business definition or any other definition in tax laws. Okay, and in case of any doubt, the tax laws are construed or interpreted most strongly against the government's power to tax and in favor of the citizen like you not being taxed and being free. That's right. Now that you know how your employer been deceived, let me show how you've been deceived year after year to file income taxes you never owed in the first place. You see how the 1040 form instructions, okay, that the IRS publishes at the irs.gov, okay, they tell you about filing requirements correctly. I agree with the IRS that these rules apply to U.S. citizens regardless of where they live and resident aliens. Yep, that is very true. But what does the word United States mean? That's the key. You think, oh, it means me. I'm a U.S. citizen from one of the 50 states. No, they don't mean that. They mean District of Columbia. Watch, I'll prove it to you. Okay, I know it sounds incredible, but just hang in there, you see it for yourself. This 1040 U.S. individual income tax return is not for someone from one of the 50 states. It's actually a District of Columbia, okay, income tax return. You should relabel it like this. Make it a D.C. individual income tax return. I'll show you momentarily how is that, okay? Section 1 of the code, everybody knows, imposes a tax. Every accountant will tell you this is the section of the code that imposes income tax on the American people. All right, I don't disagree with that. But look at the regulations by U.S. Treasury, which clarify the law and its intent for you at ecfr.org, the government's official source of U.S. Treasury regulations. Here it is, income tax on individuals, okay? And it tells you that Section 1 of the code imposes an income tax on the income of every individual who's a citizen or resident of the United States. Yep, that's right. Well, guess what? Let's go further about this definition because it's going to become even more clear as we talk more about these sections, okay? And it says that citizens or residents of the United States liable to tax. In general, all citizens of the United States, wherever residents, okay? And all resident alien individuals are liable to the income taxes imposed by the code. Yep. Very good. Now, let's go further and it tells us this. Who is a citizen? Every person born or naturalized in the United States is subject to its singular jurisdiction is a citizen. What's that singular jurisdiction? D.C., District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., not the 50 states, subject to its jurisdiction. I'll show that to you in a minute. Look at this. Here's again, that's from Internal Code. We went over that section 7701, definitions. Remember, we talked about trade or business. Now, we're going to go and define the definition of United States, and state is also here, okay? Here it is. Let's go over state first, okay? The term state shall be construed to include the District of Columbia. Wait a minute. D.C. is not a state. California, Florida, Texas, but not D.C. Guess what? Congress can put whatever they want in definitions if they want to, and they did. They included D.C., who's not even a state, but they don't mention any of the 50 states, right? California, New York, Texas, none of them are there. And look at the United States. When used in a geographical sense, it includes only the states, which means the District of Columbia, and again, the District of Columbia. So there it is. United States means, at the end, bottom line, District of Columbia. It's D.C. citizens that have to file income tax, not the people of the 50 states. We've been deceived, folks. Yes, this is a tax return for those people in D.C., not the 50 United States that they commonly think of. Now, what you want to do, by the way, by not filing first, second thing you want to do after you stop filing a 1040 income tax confession form is this, okay? You can go to Freedom Law School's website, okay? And on the right, freedomlawschool.org, you come down to the down menu that comes down, free yourself from tax withholding, click on that, boom, you will free yourself from withholding. Fill out W-4 form correctly, exempt with your legal understanding all attached, and stop being a slave. You were never meant to be a slave. You were born free. And you can be free if you simply choose to be free from now on. Yes. So the video is here, written instructions, the form is there, everything you need to know. How to stop income tax stealing, withholding by your employer, to no longer send it to the IRS. Then you don't have to file anymore. Oh, I'm going to get some of my money back. That's why I got to file. You will not have that problem. From here on, 2026, that you're going to do this thing right now before February 15th. Do this process now, and so you don't have to file for next year. And then go to our website, freedomlawschool.org. This is where you can restore freedom for yourself, your family, take the 7 steps to regain your power and freedom. Never again voluntarily pay the Washington, D.C. swamp legally and safely. Guaranteed. That's right. It's all there for you to follow, okay? Step 1 is follow the law. I just gave you a little bit about this process, okay? There's more 7 steps to follow. Here's other videos on our Odyssey channel, Rumble, or YouTube channel. These might be other videos you might be interested more on the topics of W-2 or 1099s. You're welcome to go there. And if you have any questions, call Freedom Law School at 813-444-4800. We'll be happy to answer your questions and guide you through our website as needed, okay? So here it is, another video. So remember, the 7 steps to free yourself from income tax slavery is right there on the front page. You click on that. And remember, step 2, don't file 1040 income tax confession forms. Step, right? It's right here. I just covered that for you briefly, but check it out in more detail. Step 3, realize that the Wizard of Oz been at work deceiving you, American people, Dorothy and your friends, to be afraid of the man behind the curtain. I've opened the curtain for you folks. It's only a bunch of incompetent, lazy, disorganized bureaucrats, okay? You are free, okay? You can see them. I'll show it to you more on our website, freedomlawschool.org, how you have more power and you can put aside the brainwashing that American people like you have suffered for decades. to file and pay income tax, be a slave that you don't have to be anymore because you are being literally deprogrammed right here, okay? So step 3, again, as I showed you, is how to realize IRS cannot come after all of us. They will leave you alone as a non-filer. Step 4, our victories are fantastic. IRS is a big myth. You don't have to be afraid of them anymore. None of my students have gone to prison if they stop filing and paying income tax with Freedom Law School first and stayed with Freedom Law School. That's a record of success for over 23 years. And don't be afraid of the IRS, folks. You have to pay tribute to the beast. It's really slavery, folks. No, don't be one of these guys bending for the IRS. Question your authority, petition your congressman, write about this stuff. You will not go to prison if you ask questions. And I tell you what, these petitions of us spell out the law, and none of our students that have ever been even charged with not filing paying income tax, because none of them have been refuted by congressmen. Not one congressman ever showed us that we're wrong about anything you saw here in our petitions that are there for more detail. All of this is for free. You can do it on your own. Yes, I love you all, and I want you to be free, and I cannot do it. You have to choose freedom for you and your family. So do it for free at freedomlawschool.org. Now, if you want to be part of Restore Freedom in America, believe in America is the greatest country on earth ever, like the founding fathers, get together, join hands, so we're more powerful to protect and defend each other and have a restoration of our republic, you have the option of joining the Restore Freedom Plan. Yes, and this way, we'll guarantee you will not go to prison. We'll guarantee we'll do all the work for you. Attorneys are paid by Freedom Law School, and if they take any of your money, anything by force, we'll refund you whatever ICE took you by force, so you have no risk whatsoever. Who else can do that for you? No one except Freedom Law School, because we're going to be together, having each other be free, and have America be a free country at the same time with peace and confidence, because we know the truth, right? So, and if something else, folks, love everybody, you know, love and spread the truth, and be a modern-day Paul Revere. Restore freedom in America, okay? Tell the truth, educate the law with your friends, family members, co-workers. Text them on our website, freedomlawschool.org. Email them on our website, freedomlawschool.org, okay? Give them our brochures. Here we have these brochures, Restore Freedom brochure, and here we have the other ones called Fast Track Your Success. Same thing on the inside, just different cover. They both show you in 12 pages how no law requires 99% of Americans to file and pay income or payroll taxes. Easy to understand, big print, beautiful color brochure, folks. You will love this thing. Order for yourself, for your family members, for your coworkers for free. Call us at 813-444-4800. We mail them to you. And again, get it out there, folks. Get out to as many people you know, as many people you love that might be afraid. They say, I'm not interested. They might roll their eyes at you. Oh, no. You're one of those guys, went over the deep end, conspiracy theorist, whatever. Listen, folks, don't worry about them. Love them anyways. That's right. Give them your love by telling them the truth. Let them see the truth with their own eyes. And guess what? Many of them will afterward come and will say to you, thank you. Without you, I'll be a slave. Thank you for continuing to remind me, continue to ask me, give me the brochure, give me the website, text it to me, listen to stuff on the drive to and from work. I listen to videos of Freedom Law School, and I found out you're right. So with that, brothers and sisters, freedom is your right. You're born with that right from our Creator. Don't let it slip out of your hands. You were looking for freedom, and you were meant to be free. You found it here at Freedom Law School. So go to our website, freedomlawschool.org. Remember, seek the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Do it, and be happy you did at Freedom Law School.